In a crowded restaurant, she welcomed a stranger. What he revealed changed her life forever. The diner buzzed with the familiar rhythm of clinking cutlery and raucous laughter, thick with the aromas of pancake syrup and freshly brewed coffee. Sarah, 33, moved with purpose, her bright smile lighting up her tired eyes. This was home, even if it was just her second one. A dedicated single mother, Sarah worked 2 jobs, all to provide for little Lily. But tonight, cold dread seeped through her veins. The eviction notice loomed like a dark cloud, and doubt stormed in like thunder. As she flipped the last order of pancakes, her gaze landed on a disheveled figure hunched at the counter. Jack, a war veteran, his weary eyes bearing the weight of battles not easily forgotten. Just as the waitress bypassed him, a familiar instinct kicked in. Sarah smiled and gestured for him to join her. "What's on your mind?" she asked, the sound of her voice barely breaking through the diner's noise. Jack's hesitant smile sparked a warmth inside her. They began to share their stories, sinking into a sanctuary created by laughter over greasy burgers and cheeky slices of pie. Each bite slowly eroded the barriers they had built around their hearts. As night wrapped around the small town, Jack's facade began to crumble. He opened up about the demons haunting him from combat, the guilt, the memories that stuck like thorns in his veins. He felt unworthy of the freedom he fought for, drifting like a ghost in his hollow civilian life. Sarah listened, empathy flooding her chest. Yet, her own cloak of shame weighed heavy. That nagging feeling of failure gnawed at her whenever she thought of Lily, who was blissfully unaware of their looming eviction. Just then, panic shattered the fragile connection between them. A frantic call from her babysitter plunged Sarah into a whirlpool of terror. Lily was sicker than she had ever been. "I can't lose her, I can't." Sarah gasped, her heart racing. Her fierce spirit clashed violently with despair. In that moment, Jack's demeanor shifted. He sensed her desperation, and something deep inside him ignited. "You're not alone, Sarah," he said, determination rising in his eyes. "We will get through this together." The earnestness in his tone struck a chord, and just like that, the shadows inside her began to flicker with fragile hope. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As the weight of Jack's words settled, a collective spirit began to lift around them. The diner, a hub of life and laughter, transformed into a symphony of compassion. Regulars, once strangers, leaned in, eager to support. Their kindness stitched a tapestry of hope, resounding in the air like a loving embrace. Yet, even as the newfound strength began to stream into her life, Sarah felt fluttering anxiety. What if their efforts fell short? What if this flicker of hope extinguished before it could grow? Could Jack truly help heal the wounds etched deep within her? As the warmth of community surrounded her, uncertainty tightened its grip. What really defined family? Was it blood or the kindness of a stranger stepping in during the darkest hours? This question loomed heavy in her heart as she clung tightly to the fragile strands of possibility. The chapter wasn't over, it was only just beginning, with Sarah's fate hanging in the balance. Would she rise, or was this just the calm before the storm? The diner felt alive as Sarah turned her focus back to Jack, whose determination sparked a flicker of hope in the room. Around them, conversations faded into a comforting hum, allowing the two of them to create their own little oasis amidst the chaos. Jack leaned closer, an intensity in his gaze that made her heart race. "Let us figure out a plan," he urged, his voice steady. "You need resources, and I know people in town. I can help you reach out." Tears threatened to spill down her cheeks. Would it be so simple? Could she really lean on this man she barely knew? But as she searched his eyes, warmth and sincerity radiated back. "All right," she whispered, swallowed by overwhelming emotion. "But what if I fail?" "Then we pick ourselves back up and try again," he replied, a faint smile creeping onto his lips. "It's a team effort." The idea of teamwork felt foreign after so many years of standing on her own. Sarah had always been fierce, fiercely self-sufficient and fiercely protective of Lily. Yet here was a man, a stranger, but now not quite as strange, willing to step into the breach for her and her daughter. The door of the diner swung open, and in walked a gust of cold air that sent a shiver through her. A couple of late-night patrons stumbled in, laughing, glancing around the snug surroundings. Sarah noticed their eyes dart toward her and Jack, curiosity mixing with concern. She hoped they could sense the flickers of determination igniting between them, even if they couldn't know the full weight of their moment. "Let us get to it," Jack said, a spark igniting in his voice. He took out his phone, scrolling through contacts. "Do you trust me?" "Yes," she replied, surprising herself with the sincerity of her answer. "Good. Then let us make some calls." As he began to call, Sarah felt the warmth of hope blossom within her. Each ring, each unanswered call, pulled the threads of her despair tighter until Jack fixed her with a decided stare, rolling up his sleeves. "We're in this together. I won't let you down." As if sensing the shift, the diner shifted, along with the regular patrons who opted to embrace this budding partnership. One by one, they began offering help, anything from cash to connections, sweet smiles offered alongside warm cups of coffee and pie. Sarah's heart soared, though apprehension still nibbled at her mind. But all of it came to an abrupt halt when a familiar face stepped out from the back. The diner manager, an older man with a hardened expression, approached. "Hey, Sarah," he said, crossing his arms. The air thickened, shadows darting in her mind, and she almost flinched at the impending storm she sensed brewing. "We need to talk." Panic gripped her heart. Had he caught wind of the eviction? Was this at the moment everything unraveled? Jack's hand slipped into hers, grounding her amidst the confusion. "Whatever it is, we can handle it," he whispered, but his confidence faltered slightly as he met her anxious gaze. Before Sarah could respond, the manager continued. "We're starting a community fundraiser. We'd like you to be a part of it." Her breath hitched. What did this mean? Could this be the lifeline she desperately needed? As the dawning realization settled in, a mix of dread and exhilaration swirled inside her. This was just the beginning. Yet, as she looked into Jack's eyes, she couldn't shake the nagging fear that the elusive storm wasn't quite over yet. Could they weather this together? With the weight of uncertainty thick in the air, Sarah clenched Jack's hand tighter. What would happen next? The diner felt charged, each face around them painted with anticipation. Sarah's eyes locked on the manager, a figure both familiar and intimidating. His presence brought back memories of late rent payments and unspoken tensions, yet here he stood, extending a lifeline. "A fundraiser?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," he nodded, his expression softening slightly. "The community is stepping up to support families facing financial struggles. We want you to share your story." Her heart raced. Share her story? Suddenly, the idea felt terrifying. The dance of vulnerability and fear played in her chest. What if she laid bare her struggles only to be met with judgment? But then, Jack's reassuring grip reminded her that she wasn't alone. "It's a great idea, Sarah," he said quietly, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. "You have a chance to rally the community, to let them know exactly what you need." Doubt crept in, but she brushed it away. "And what if it backfires? What if it doesn't?" He countered, his voice firm. "You might find people genuinely want to help. They just need to know how." The manager chimed in, "We'll make sure you're supported. It's about showing the community what you're going through. Your strength can inspire others facing similar battles." Sarah shifted in her seat, the weight of her burden feeling lighter under their support. Her mind raced with visions of Lily, the life she wanted to provide for her daughter. The thought of opening up a little felt daunting yet liberating. With a deep breath, she nodded. "Okay. I'll do it." Jack smiled brightly, his enthusiasm infectious. The patrons nearby seemed to lean in, their gazes softening with empathy. Sarah could feel a sense of solidarity growing, and the diner transformed, becoming a haven of hope. "Let us go over some ideas after closing," Jack suggested, pulling out a napkin to jot down notes. "We can think of ways to promote it, maybe even reach out to local businesses for donations." She watched him scribble, a quiet determination radiating from him. It struck her how far she had come in just a short time. She had gone from a woman alone on the edge of despair to someone with a partner at her side, ready to battle together. But amidst the rush of optimism, old fears fluttered in the corners of her mind. What if she laid bare her life and it wasn't enough? What if she failed? As questions swirled within her, she pushed them back, focusing instead on the support surrounding her. "Sarah?" Jack's voice broke through her reverie. "You all right?" "Yeah," she replied, her heart pounding, but this time not just from fear. The hope was growing, pushing aside the shadows that had loomed for so long. Just then, the door swung open again, and a new wave of customers entered. The murmurs of conversations began to fill the air, but now there was wariness mixed with excitement. Sarah could hear snippets of encouragement slip from their lips, and it was as if the entire diner had turned into a living organism, ready to fight for her. As the chatter swelled and energy surged, she turned to Jack, her smile unsteady but genuine. "I guess we're really doing this, huh?" "Absolutely," he grinned, and for a moment, the world outside vanished. It was just them, their shared vision igniting a fire that threatened to spread, but suddenly, the door swung open once more. A woman stepped in, her eyes darting around nervously before locking onto Sarah. Recognition flickered in the woman's expression, and Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. What did this mean? Was this about to change everything she'd begun to build? The room hushed, and Sarah could feel the tension creep back in. She clutched Jack's hand tighter, the storm she thought cleared suddenly brewing anew. What was this woman's purpose in their moment of hope? The woman took a hesitant step inside, her breath quickening as she scanned the room. The diner felt smaller, as if the walls were closing in around Sarah. Jack's grip on her hand tightened, a silent affirmation that they would face whatever came next together. The woman's gaze locked onto Sarah, a mixture of surprise and regret in her eyes. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. It was as if the thoughts of everyone in the diner had paused, waiting for the next move. "Sarah?" The woman finally spoke, her voice trembling slightly. Recognition flooded Sarah's mind. This was Claire, her estranged sister. The sight of her brought a whirl of emotions: anger, pain, and disbelief all rolled into one. They were supposed to be family, yet years of silence loomed between them like an insurmountable wall. "What are you doing here?" Sarah managed, her voice steadier than she felt. I heard about the fundraiser," Claire stuttered, glancing around the diner. The weight of judgment hung in the air, and the few patrons who hadn't yet settled into their meals watched the scene unfold with bated breath. "I thought maybe I could help." "Help?" Sarah echoed, her mind reeling. "After all this time, you think you can just show up and offer help?" "I didn't know what to say before," Claire admitted, her lip quivering. "But I know what it's like to struggle. I've been there. I want to support you and Lily. I'm sorry I wasn't there before." Jack shifted beside her, his expression unreadable. He clearly registered the mix of emotions swirling within Sarah. Forgiveness? Betrayal? Confusion? "What do you want from me?" Sarah countered, her heart racing, her fury mixing with a thread of hope. "You've been silent for years, Claire. Where was the support then?" "I was scared," Claire said, her voice low but firm. "I didn't know how to help. But I've been following your story. I see how brave you are every day. I wish I had spoken up sooner." The diner felt alive with the tension rippling through Sarah. Hope flickered dimly, only to be smothered by distrust. Could she allow herself to believe that her sister had changed? That after years of neglect, Claire truly wanted to mend the broken pieces of their lives. Jack stepped forward, breaking the pervasive silence. "Sarah, whatever you decide, you don't have to do it alone," he said, his tone steady and reassuring. "We can take this one step at a time." The suggestion hung in the air. Could she take that risk? Could she open up to Claire, let her in after being hurt so badly? Her instinct screamed to protect herself and Lily, yet the flicker of family connection nagged at her heart. "I don't know if I can trust you again," Sarah said, each word laden with a child's earnest yearning for familial ties. Claire's face fell, and yet there was understanding there, too. "I wouldn't expect that trust to come easy. Just give me a chance, Sarah. Allow me to show you that I've changed." The weight of the moment pressed on her, and Sarah felt the walls around her start to tremble. The possibilities tangled in her mind, the choice was hers to make. But as her heart ached for the chance to heal, she feared past pains might drown that hope. "Let me think about it," Sarah said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. As she glanced at Jack, the tension in the air shifted again. The murmurs in the diner resumed, but a charge of urgency hung above them, waiting for the next explosive moment. Sarah suddenly realized this encounter marked not just a chance to rebuild with Claire, but a pivotal point in her journey. What if this was the key to finding the strength she had always needed? But with every chance, there was a choice, a balancing act between opening her door and the risks of being hurt again. What would she decide? And what would that mean for Lily? The weight of looming decisions pressed down heavy on her heart as she faced the questions that could change everything. Sarah's mind was a whirlwind as she faced Claire. The air between them was thick, and the rest of the diner faded into the background, almost as if they were the only two people in the world. Jack stood protectively beside her, a constant reminder that she wasn't alone in this moment. "Can we speak outside?" Sarah finally asked, her voice quiet yet firm. She needed distance from the prying eyes, a moment to grasp the reality of this encounter. Claire nodded, relief washing over her features. They stepped outside, the evening air fresh and cool, a stark contrast to the charged atmosphere inside the diner. Jack followed closely behind, his presence a silent assurance. Once outside, Sarah turned to face Claire, the tension palpable. "Why now? Why not years ago when I could have really used you?" Her voice was tighter than she intended, but the hurt was raw and real. Claire ran a hand through her hair, frustration and regret swirling in her expression. "I was a coward," she admitted. "I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to face you. But I've changed, Sarah. I want to change things between us." Sarah wanted to scream, to unleash all the pent-up emotions from years of silence. "You can't just waltz back in and expect everything to be fine. It doesn't work like that." Jack's hand gently squeezed hers, urging calmness. "Take your time, just breathe," he whispered, his voice barely audible above the hum of the street. A moment passed as Sarah wrestled with her emotions. Claire's eyes held an intensity that made her feel stripped bare, vulnerable. But just beneath that, there was a hint of something she hadn't expected: sincerity. "I don't want to fight anymore, Sarah," Claire said softly. "I want to be part of Lily's life. Yours, too, if you'll let me. I'm asking for a chance to be the sister you deserved all those years." At the mention of Lily, Sarah's heart clenched. Claire had missed so much: birthdays, milestones, the day her daughter learned to walk. Those moments were priceless. All because Claire had vanished. "But what if you disappear again?" Sarah challenged, her voice a mix of hurt and hope. "I can't put Lily through that." "I won't," Claire said, her voice steady, eyes wide and vulnerable. "I promise. I've learned that family matters more than anything else. Just let me show you." With each word, the initial barriers Sarah had erected began to crumble. A flicker of hope flared within her, a dangerous ember, yet it burned so brightly. Could she take that leap of faith? "I need time to think, Claire," Sarah replied, her voice softer now. "I need to know this is real. It can't just be a moment." "I understand," Claire said, relief evident. "I'll be wherever you need me to be. Just call me." As they stood there, the cool breeze wrapping around them, Sarah noticed a lightness in the air, like the promise of new beginnings. But doubt still nagged at the edges of her mind, and she knew this wouldn't be easy. Jack's presence grounded her as they turned to leave, the weight of the moment settling in her chest. Would she really allow Claire back into her life? Their eyes met briefly, Jack's gaze filled with encouragement. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that sometimes, the most painful choices could lead to the most beautiful outcomes. As they stepped back into the diner, the warmth of the room enveloped her once more. The sounds of clinks and chatter filled her ears like an old song, yet everything felt different, alive with new possibilities. But was she truly ready for this? The thought seeped into her mind as they settled back down at their booth, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just a reunion, it was the beginning of something much bigger. What if Claire wasn't just back for her? What if the real test lay ahead, waiting for them to uncover the truth together? Inside the diner, the noise swirled around Sarah, each clatter of utensils and burst of laughter feeling like a jarring contrast to the heavy moment she had just experienced outside. Claire's words echoed in her mind. A part of her wanted to forget everything, to revert to a simpler time when family ties weren't entangled in confusion and hurt. But Claire was here now, offering a chance, a promise of something different. Jack had let go of her hand but sat close, his expression a mixture of concern and curiosity. "You okay?" he asked softly, leaning toward her. She could see he was trying to gauge her feelings, and she appreciated it more than she could express. "Yeah, just processing," Sarah said, forcing a smile. "I didn't expect all of this." Lily would be coming back from her drawing class soon. The thought brought a fresh wave of anxiety. How would she explain Claire's presence? Would her daughter understand the tangled ups and downs? Guilt washed over her. Lily deserved a seamless family life, not the jigsaw puzzle that had become their reality. "Do you think I should talk to Lily about Claire?" she asked Jack, searching his eyes for guidance. "I mean, I don't want to overwhelm her, but I also don't want to hide this from her." Jack considered for a moment, his brow furrowed. "She deserves to know the truth. It's part of her story too. Just choose the right moment." He reached for her hand again, this time squeezing it gently. "You're not alone in this. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together." His reassurance was a balm to her frayed nerves. The world around them began to settle, falling into place with the patience of a well-rehearsed choreography. But then, from across the diner, a figure stepped into her view. "Sarah!" a voice called out, cutting through the background clatter. It was Margie, an old acquaintance from their school days, her face lighting up with recognition. Margie walked toward them, her smile wide, unable to hide the surprise that she found her here. "Margie," Sarah replied, standing up to meet her halfway. "It's been ages. Way too long. What are you doing here?" Margie beamed, oblivious to the heavy emotions lingering in the air. Before Sarah could respond, Claire shifted slightly in her seat. Her presence felt like an unexpected shadow at the reunion. Margie turned, her bright smile faltering for just a split second as she connected the dots. "Oh, Claire?" "Hi, Margie," Claire said, her voice steady despite the palpable tension. The world seemed to pause. For a moment, all Sarah could think about was how Claire had glittered in the memories of her past, the sister who was missing, and now, oddly enough, standing right beside her. "What brings you both here?" Margie questioned, looking back and forth between them, catching on to the unspoken tension. "Are you two close again?" The question hung in the air like a lead weight. Sarah could sense Claire's uncertain gaze. She was clearly not ready for this. The diner felt suddenly stifling as the layers of their complicated reunion were laid bare. "I mean, we are," sort of. Sarah stumbled over her words, suddenly feeling vulnerable. The weight of her past loomed over them in a way she hadn't anticipated. Margie's smile faltered, eyes flicking from Claire to Sarah. "Wow, I didn't know. I'm happy for you both. It must be a lot." "Yeah, it is," Claire finally spoke, her voice a little firmer now. "It's a journey, I guess." With that, a new layer of complexity settled between them, this unexpected audience adding pressure. Sarah glanced at Jack, who remained calm and supportive. The warmth of his presence was comforting, yet the moment felt strained. "Maybe we should sit down?" Jack suggested, trying to ease the awkwardness. Just as they prepared to find their way back to normalcy, a ringing phone broke the air. Sarah's heart raced as she pulled her phone from her pocket, the screen lighting up with an unfamiliar number. "Who's that?" Jack asked, leaning closer. "I don't know," Sarah said, frowning. "Should I answer?" Before she could decide, the call stopped ringing, but the tension from outside seemed to shift as her stomach plummeted. A sneaky suspicion crawled into her mind. Was it Claire's past calling? Or perhaps something entirely new, a surprise that could change everything once again, and just like that, the next phase of her story loomed on the horizon, waiting to drop another bombshell or maybe offer a lifeline. What secrets might this call reveal that could alter everything Sarah thought she knew? The phone remained silent in her hand, but the lingering tension filled the diner like an unwelcome guest. Sarah fought the urge to look back at the screen, as if that would somehow change the outcome. The emotions swirled within her like a storm. Should she have answered? What could have been so urgent that it couldn't wait? "Are you going to answer?" "It might be important," Jack encouraged, his voice low but steady. Sarah shook her head. "No, it's fine." She paused, the weight of too many questions pressing against her heart. "I just wish I knew what this was all leading to." Margie, sensing the shift in mood, interjected, "Why don't you both join us for dinner? It'll distract us all from whatever is going on. And trust me, the pie here is out of this world." "Pie sounds good," Claire said, her smile returning, but Sarah could see the underlying apprehension in her gaze. It mirrored Sarah's own uncertainty. "Okay, let us do it," Sarah agreed, forcing her own smile. Who could say no to pie? The words felt like a shaky bridge between normalcy and chaos, a small attempt to reconnect with the lightness of life. They took their seats, and as they settled into the familiar routine of ordering, Sarah felt a flicker of warmth, a feeling she thought had been lost forever. She watched Jack speak with Margie, the easy banter drawing her back into the moment, even as Claire sat beside her, the reality of their reunion thrumming like a guitar string, taut and ready to snap. When their orders arrived, Sarah couldn't help but notice how Margie continued to steal glances at Claire, curiosity etched on her face. "So, Claire, what's been going on with you all these years?" Margie's voice was cheerfully inquisitive, yet Sarah felt a lump rise in her throat. There was too much unspoken in that question. Claire took a breath, her blue eyes darting to Sarah for reassurance before answering. "It's a long story, one I'm still trying to understand myself. But I'm here now, and that's what matters." "Right," Margie replied, a hint of sympathy in her tone. "It's never too late to reconnect." The thought hung in the air, thick with promise and uncertainty. Sarah's heart wrestled with a cacophony of emotions. Reconnecting could mean healing old wounds or pulling open fresh scars. As they dug into their meals, laughter gradually returned to the table, though it fought to keep a tight grip on the underlying tension. Jack's laughter made her feel lighter, yet the whisper of her phone still lingered on the fringe of her thoughts. It was as if it were taunting her, reminding her of the chaos that could still erupt. Finally, just as she was about to drown the anxiety in another forkful of chicken and mashed potatoes, the phone rang again, this time with a familiar vibration, so insistent it sent a shiver down her spine. "Do you have to answer?" Jack asked, sensing her unease. Sarah nodded, bracing herself for whatever was on the other end. "Excuse me for just a second," she said, the voices around her fading as she stepped away. The bright lights of the diner dimmed in comparison to the weight pressing against her chest as she answered. "Hello?" The line crackled before a voice came through, deep and concerned. "Sarah? It's me, Pete. We need to talk. It's about Claire." The air froze around her, his words hanging like a heavy fog. She had no idea what Pete wanted, but she felt a chill run down her spine at the mention of Claire's name. "Is she okay?" Her voice wavered. "Not exactly," Pete replied, and Sarah's heart raced. "There's something you need to know." Every second stretched into infinity as she wrestled with the unknown. Would this be the answer she was waiting for, or would it unravel everything she had just began to piece together? Caught in a storm of emotions, she was left with one haunting thought: what if Claire's past threatened the very future she was trying to build? The call hung over her like a dark cloud, and Sarah felt the ground shift beneath her feet. As she turned back to her table, the look of concern, mixed with expectation, on Jack's face pierced through her like a lightning bolt. Would she tell him? Would she unravel the new thread of hope they'd begun to weave? A decision loomed ahead, one that could change everything yet again. Would she dare to confront the truth, no matter the cost? Sarah's heart thumped loudly in her chest as she returned to the table. Time seemed twisted, each step heavy with dread. Jack's gaze was steady, but his brow furrowed with concern. The weight of the call lingered in the air, dragging down the lightness they had fought to grasp. What did Pete say? Jack asked, his voice a blend of curiosity and worry. Sarah bit her lip, wrestling with the words that threatened to spill out. She opened her mouth but closed it again, trapped between the weight of her feelings and the need to protect Claire. It's complicated, she finally managed, not fully lying but avoiding the truth. Jack nodded, though his eyes betrayed his concern. Okay. Just remember, whatever it is, I'm here. She felt gratitude ripple through her. His presence grounded her, but the call hovered like a distant storm cloud, ready to unleash. Let us not think about it now. We have pie to enjoy, she said, trying to muster a smile. Margie chimed in, that's right. Life is too short for worries when there's pie. Her laughter was infectious, and Sarah felt the momentary calm wash over her, but as they shared stories and laughter, Sarah's thoughts kept drifting back to the call. She stole glances at Claire, who seemed lost in thought as she played with her fork, the weight of unspoken words in her eyes. Sarah caught snippets of Margie's stories mixed with Jack's gentle teasing, but all of it faded under the pressing apprehension. Minutes passed, and finally, the pie arrived, a sweet reminder of comfort. It looked decadent, glistening under the bright diner lights, yet Sarah could hardly taste it. The first bite was too sweet, too heavy, just like the ache that had settled in her heart. Are you okay? Jack suddenly asked, concern wrapping around his voice. Yeah, just thinking, she replied softly. But the truth was, her mind was racing. What did Pete know? Was Claire in trouble? The thought gnawed at her. Claire's voice broke into her thoughts. Sarah? You've been so quiet. Is everything all right? Caught in the web of her own tangled emotions, she knew she had to decide. Claire deserved honesty, but revealing Pete's call could shatter the fragile peace they were trying to build. Actually, Sarah began, her voice wavering, there's something I need to tell you. Claire leaned in, her expression shifting to one of urgency tinged with familiarity. What is it? Before Sarah could respond, her phone vibrated again. This time, Sarah felt a rush of panic. She reached for it, her heart pounding in her ears. It was Pete again. I'm sorry, I have to take this, she muttered, standing up abruptly. As she turned away, she felt Jack's eyes on her, filled with unspoken questions and concern. Just as she answered, a sense of desperation enveloped her. Pete, what is it? What do I need to know? Sarah, it's not just about Claire's past. It's about her future too. You need to prepare yourself. His voice cracked, heavy with dread. Sarah froze, her heart thumping louder. None of this was supposed to happen today. Wasn't this a day for reconnecting? Pie and laughter? Not secrets and shadows. What do you mean? She pressed, panic surging. What do I have to prepare for? He hesitated, the silence like a countdown before a storm. She felt every second stretch out painfully. And then he spoke. There are things lurking, secrets that could change everything for all of us. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, her mind racing with wild possibilities. As she turned to face her friends, the weight of Pete's words hung overhead like a blade, dangerously close to falling. Could she handle the truth? And more importantly, how much of it would she dare to unveil? The clock was ticking, and soon, she would have to choose. Sarah held her breath, the phone pressed tightly to her ear. The soft hum of chatter and clinking dishes faded into a distant murmur. All she could focus on was Pete's warning and the crushing weight of uncertainty. She could feel Jack's eyes on her back, the concern etched in his posture. Sarah, Pete's voice cut through the silence again, You have to promise me you'll be ready. When this comes to light, it will be a shock. Ready for what? Anxiety twisted in her stomach. Is it about Claire? Are we in danger? There was a long pause, making Sarah feel as if the air had thickened. You can't hide this from her anymore. Claire deserves to know. His voice faltered before he continued. What you say next could change everything. Sarah's heart raced. How could she bear the thought of shattering Claire's world? But what choice did she have? Secrets don't just disappear, they linger, waiting to resurface at the worst possible moment. As she ended the call, she turned slowly, her heart pounding like a drum. The laughter and clinking dishes filled the room with a normalcy she desperately wanted to hold on to. But deep down, Sarah felt like she was caught in a whirlwind. Sarah? Jack ventured, breaking through her thoughts. What did he say? Her mind scrambled for words. She looked at Claire, who was now observing her with wide eyes. I have to explain something. The resolve etched on Claire's face made Sarah's heart ache. The girl had always been so strong despite everything they'd been through. Before she could speak, Claire's gaze flickered to the others, searching for reassurance. Sarah felt a lump form in her throat. It wasn't just Claire's life hanging in the balance, it was the fragile trust they had built together. Let us step outside, Sarah suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack nodded and stood up, understanding flashing in his eyes. The three of them walked out into the cool evening air, leaving the warmth of the diner behind. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows on the pavement. Once outside, Sarah felt a wave of relief, momentarily drowning out her anxiety. The restaurant's noise faded, leaving only the distant sound of cars and the rustle of leaves. She took a deep breath, a mixture of fear and determination coursing through her. Claire, she started, there's something you need to know, something about your past. Her voice trembled, but she pressed on. It could change things between us. It could change everything. A flicker of confusion crossed Claire's face. What are you talking about? Am I in trouble? No, babe, nothing like that. But before Sarah could finish, Claire interrupted. Just tell me. Please. We can handle it together. Tears pricked Sarah's eyes. They had always been a team, but this was different. It's about your birth parents, she managed. The words felt heavy on her tongue. There are secrets about them, about you, that we haven't talked about. Claire's expression shifted, uncertainty clouding her features as she processed the revelation. Is that why you've been so worried? I thought we were okay. I thought we were too, Sarah confessed, feeling the weight of each truth. But there's been a call from Pete. He knows things we don't. Claire stepped back, absorbing the news as if it were a physical force. What kind of things? With each second that passed, Sarah knew she was standing on the edge of something deep and tumultuous. Things that could explain why you've always felt different. Things that could change everything. The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken fears and uncertain futures. Sarah's heart raced as Claire's eyes searched hers for answers. Could they face this together? And just then, a figure approached from the shadows, breaking the tension of the moment. Every muscle in Sarah's body tensed as she recognized the newcomer. Why was he here? What did he want? Excuse me, Sarah, the stranger said, his voice low and steady. It's time you knew the full story. Sarah's heart sank as dread twisted through her. What else was there to uncover? The shadows gathered around the three of them, Sarah's heart hammering in her chest. The stranger's voice was calm but carried an urgency that felt like ice in her veins. It's time you knew the full story, he repeated, stepping closer. Who are you? Jack demanded, his protective instinct flaring as he stood slightly in front of Claire and Sarah. The man held up his hands in a gesture of peace. I'm Thomas, he said slowly. I know about Claire's past, and it's crucial that we talk. Fear and concern churned inside Sarah. What more could this man possibly reveal? She felt Claire's anxious energy radiating beside her, pulling on the threads of desperation around them. What do you know? She asked, her voice steadier than she felt. Thomas glanced around, ensuring they weren't overheard. It's about your birth parents. There are things they didn't tell you. Things others have tried to keep hidden. The breath caught in Sarah's throat. She thought of the fragile bond she had just begun to forge with Claire, now threatened by this revelation. Claire looked between Sarah and Thomas, confusion flickering across her face. What don't I know? She stammered, wrapping her arms around herself as if trying to shield against the chill of uncertainty. Your parents had reasons, Thomas pressed on. They made choices that affected all of you. He took a breath, as though steeling himself for the weight of his words. They had to protect you, both of you, from things they thought you weren't ready to handle. And now it's time for the truth. Jack shot a wary look at Sarah. What is he talking about? His protective demeanor was palpable. We don't need to listen to this guy. Jack, please, Sarah whispered, her heart racing. Maybe this is important. Maybe it's what Claire needs to hear. Why now? Claire asked, her voice trembling. Why should I trust you? Because you deserve to know your entire history. You felt this pull your whole life. Something inside you has longed for answers, Thomas explained, his voice softening as he knelt slightly to Claire's level, holding her gaze. This isn't about bringing up pain, it's about healing. Truth can set you free. Their breaths mingled in the crisp air. Sarah could feel the weight of doubt pressing down, but she knew this was a moment they had to seize together, if they could bear it. What about our family now? Sarah interjected. What does this mean for us? It means the potential for a real connection, Thomas replied, his sincerity shining through the haze of worry. Once you know, you can make a choice to build the family you've always wanted, but this time, rooted in honesty. Sarah looked at Jack, who seemed torn between his protective instincts and understanding how transformative this could be for Claire. She saw the hesitations but also the glimmers of hope in his eyes. Okay, Claire finally said, determination settling in her voice. Tell me everything. Let us sit, Thomas suggested, guiding them to a nearby bench under the softly glowing streetlights. The weight of the conversation settled around them, and the intensity hung in the air. As they gathered closely, the world around them disappeared. It was only them and the truth waiting in the silence. I was a friend of your parents, Thomas began, his tone gentle yet urgent. They were afraid you would live in the dark, unaware of your unique heritage. You come from a long line of passionate individuals, people who fought for justice in extraordinary ways. Sarah's heart raced, the revelation igniting a spark of fascination in her. Claire's brow furrowed, trying to grasp the enormity of this, but the lure of her true identity began to shine like a beacon. Why would they keep that from me? Claire asked, her eyes wide with disbelief. Because being the person you are comes with responsibilities. They thought you were far too sensitive for that, he explained. You felt different, haven't you? Like you're searching for something? That's part of your lineage. A soft gasp escaped Claire's lips, and Sarah felt a rush of emotion. This could be what Claire had always needed, a path to understanding herself and maybe even to healing their relationship. I don't know if I'm ready for this, Claire said quietly, tears brimming in her eyes. What if it tears everything apart? Sarah leaned in closer, gripping her sister's arm. You won't face this alone. We'll figure it out together. Jack nodded, affirming their commitment. Your family has a history that could connect you with others, Thomas continued, his voice steady. The reason why this all matters is that you both of you have the power to create change, to embrace who you are. A calmness washed over the trio. The shadows of uncertainty slowly began to recede, and an empowering sense of purpose blossomed in their midst. Claire's fears still echoed, yet determination accompanied them. Let us do it, Claire whispered, an unexpected spark of bravery igniting in her. Let us uncover the truth. As they faced this uncertain journey, something shifted around them. Sarah felt a renewed sense of belonging, strength in this circle of openness, vulnerability painting the air like vibrant strokes of color. This was just the beginning, a beginning that coursed with hope, closer relationships, and beautiful possibilities previously unimagined. As they walked back toward the diner, Sarah felt the warmth of Jack's hand squeezing hers, a reassuring anchor, while Claire walked slightly ahead ready to confront the depths of her truth. Together, they embraced the journey ahead, one rooted in honesty and the promise of transformation, and with that, the potential for genuine healing unfolded before them, a testament to the power of truth, family, and the bonds that could withstand even the fiercest storms. Now more than ever, Sarah felt the call of community around her, like the gentle hum of the diner welcoming her home. It reminded her that family is not only defined by blood. It's about showing up and finding light in even the darkest moments. As they stepped inside the diner once more, warmth wrapped around them like a cozy blanket. The glow of hope permeated the air, and laughter spilled out in waves, a music they would carry from here, and with every step, they embraced the future no longer weighed down by the haunting shadows of the past. Now is your moment. Subscribe immediately to our channel to continue this incredible journey with us. Don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm so other hearts can witness this transformation. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about the ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this uplifting message. You need to support the channel because only true fans understand the important role you play in keeping this community alive. Don't wait not even one more second to share this.